Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you for the organizers for such an inspiring and a very needy conference at this time, especially with lockdown and where I think family relations is tested. After Professor Zinat's Kothar's speech, I think I would say mine is much weaker than her strong advice and perceptions that she has delivered, but I hope I could be of benefit to the attendees. I have a few slides, as Selma saw and Lamia from last year and people that attended. I'm more of a free talker. I would not be reading from somewhere, but we'll be sharing, let me see my slides that I've put together just to guide me in what I'm trying to say. Okay. So I'll start with the ayah. If I can put this down. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. And I think what I will be saying and talking about really falls in success with what Professor Zina just mentioned about the importance of family. So the social structure family is, or the social structures is a sum of different institutions, one of which is the family, and which we would be talking about today. But we also, as a family, we are a part of other systems that we participate to achieve a cohesive environment for us, for people that we love, our families, our friends, as well as society in general. I'd start with looking at Maslow's hierarchies of needs, thinking that everything that I will be talking about today, regardless if it's social, economic, or even political, it all has to do with something and related to this. We are here to, okay. I don't know what's going on, but I'm having scribbles on my screen. So the social aspect, family is the foundation of our society, which Professor Zina just mentioned. It's the cornerstone for life and humanity. I think I'm taking a little bit a step back, thinking about what, as a family, where do we stand? Where do we, what's our importance in this structure or system of society in general? We start with marriage as the binding and joining of not just two people, but or two families, but two communities, two societies, and sometimes even more. We are a family. The creation of a family is the laying of a brick, the formation. The formation of any society is and a family. The family is an integral part of any society. I'm sorry, I'm just getting distracted with people writing on the screen. So how strong are we to earthquakes? And I put this because the stronger the family foundation is, the stronger our Islamic perceptions are, our strong relation to our religion, to our beliefs, the stronger we are. And I put this one because it reflects actually the new foundation that countries where they have earthquakes, their new foundation system for buildings is done, and it's called systemic isolation structure, where any movement, any differentiation in structure can be actually tackled. And even if it shakes, nothing will change. And I think this is what I'm trying to say. The stronger our foundation is as a family, as a society, the stronger we will be able to face all these distraction or problems that Professor Zina just mentioned. And I do touch on some of them. So some of the today's problems that we face as Muslim and as small Muslim families, secularism, individualism, materialism, they're trying to move our beliefs or change and undermine our beliefs towards what enlightenment was pushing for. As a family, the family is the first institution. So every new cell is a part of the society body. Every family produces more cells. The stronger our children are, the better they'd be. First and most important is the home. So we need to be very aware in a way of how we are communicating, how we're raising our children, and what are we raising them on, especially as families that are living between or struggling between the Western culture, if you're living, for example, in the UK or in the States or, you know, in a Western country, and you are trying to observe and reserve your Islamic traditions, Islamic cultures, Islamic beliefs. It's a struggle that we need to be very aware of, and hope to give our kids the best of both if that exists. So the homey environment and the confidence that we build within that structure is very important. The family is also where social order starts to be taught. Teaching your children, teaching your family how to be a part of the society, of a part of that first community, which is their family, is very important. And that comes along later on. They see how you know, if you pray on time, if you read the Quran, these are things, even if you don't advise them on a regular basis, that kind of culture that you've created within a house or within a home is very important. That reflects upon the larger society. And then a family bond is and it's the core principle of the family itself. What we teach is important. Teaching the kalima tayyiba, the cultures and traditions, this is where it all starts. And that's why it's very important how we communicate this. And again, I would emphasize when you're struggling to raise children between two cultures, it's much more difficult to try to put them in a way, or, you know, express both pros and cons of the situations, of why are you asking them to do this, or why are you asking them to respect the elder, or, you know, there are some of the things that you see, especially when you're in Western culture, that in our own Islamic and Islamic cultures is something that we would look frown upon because they're not right. But in Western cultures, they're right. And you'd get these children arguing about, you know, why should I do this? You know, my friend doesn't do it. And that kind of struggle is real. You know, the acceptance of something that Professor Kother just talked about was, as well as the LGBT, where our children are taught from a young age that, you know, she should accept that too, that one same-sex marriage, or and so on. And for a mother that has children of 7 and 8, I need to explain exactly, you know, why it is, but in a way that they could understand it, and without putting them in an awkward situation where they either reject what you're saying or try to question it by asking someone else. and taking their belief. You need to create that kind of trust. So that's where our society is very important, our social connections with each other. And I mean, even the larger society. Whoops. And then I go into the economics. So a part of the, because I'm aware of the time, so I'm trying to run, but if you've got any questions, please, you can ask later in the chat. So one of the important things when I talk about economics, and this is my passion, this is where I come from, more than social, families are producers and consumers. So a family is not as just a laid brick in society for expanding, but it's also it's where our livelihood gets to be completed, to be we get to be participants in creating the livelihood, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us. Family economics is very important, something that's, I think, about a new concept that people come to terms with right now. It used to be on a small community level. Now it's more of larger society. You're a part of the economy. Home economics, or housekeeping, as it's described in Lehman's terms, literally how to maintain the livelihoods of the people that you live with. It's managing your family, your household, and your community. And I think this is a very important aspect, because the stronger we are economically, and I'm not talking about having millions, but it's more of, even with the small amounts that we have, we have a part on managing our household to be productive. One of the things I think we are blessed with in Islam is that we have the sense of community, the sense of generosity, the sadaqah, the zakah that we give out. And it's something I think we all should be talking about more frequently than we do currently. You see these big organizations, international NGOs, talking about how they're supporting different organizations, they're supporting different communities, the refugees. But we were the beginners of this. Islam came with this before any other cultures, or before Enlightenment, let's say. Christianity, Judaism do have the charity part and something similar to zakah, but not as we have it now. It's well structured. The first financial system in the world was an Islamic system. The credit system came from us, from Islam. It didn't come from somewhere else. And still we seem to be the ones that now are using other economic systems to plow in our lives, instead of using out the systems that we have. Why your household is important. And I think most of the times we forget that we as individuals, as families, are very important pillars in a society. And even the smallest part that you take in creating in a society, it is still very important. You are important in the social production. Regardless of what job you do, you are an important part. And one of the things that always gets dismissed is the fact that women's domestic work at home is not accounted for. If you go back to Islam, the origins of Islam with the Rasul, you would see how that was really emphasized on, whereas now with the Western perspectives and Eurocentrism, this has all gone away, because they needed to replace it. They didn't have it. So when they gave us all when they put their knowledge out there for us even to use, we dismissed the parts that we had already existed. I like the third part, where every household is a small firm. You are a small company. You're just like a state. You're just like a big business. And that's how you should think about it when you're coming to think about the economics of your own household and your life. My personal view, as usual, I always like to give these things, recognize the value of domestic work. If you, like me, worked most of my life, I needed always domestic help around me. I needed, external help to help with my kids, with my groceries, and so on. And when that goes away, we don't value the person instead doing it. My mother, my father doing it, my brothers, all of that needs to be recognized. And it's important way of structuring our society as well. If we recognize the help that we offer each other. And I think, as an example, coming back from going from Doha, where my families are, and then coming to the UK, where I have no help at all. I really appreciate all that free labor that I was getting, that I'm not getting now. Always try to recognize it, because that's a part of our social connection, social awareness, and it also falls into how much we are helping each other. Husband and wife responsibilities, I think that is something that we always misinterpret. We never talk about how much each of us has of responsibilities. It's always thought of, if you're a stay-at-home mom, people think that you don't do much, whereas you might be doing 10 times a person that goes out to work. And me having experienced both cases, I can tell you housework is much, much more harder than having to work in a company or work on your own business. And then I think it comes to us as mothers and fathers to teach our children the responsibilities and the basics of economics, because that will make a stronger community. One of the things that I think our Islamic communities lack is we do have the wealthiest of wealth, and still we have the poorest of the poor. And something that went wrong in the middle is that we missed the concepts of how to teach that we are responsible beyond our household. So that's why I emphasize again on the sadaqah, on the zakat. Making children aware about that from now is very important. Allowing them to know that, if you see a poor person, if you see someone that if you can give something away to someone that doesn't have it, it's very important. And something I use a lot is creating a reward system. Initially, you would use stars, for young children, but then it could be on chores and giving them money, and then planning, seeing how they manage their own finances. And finally, something I recommend every woman to do is saving and investment. And it's, when I mean saving, I've always advised that everyone should have at least one pot where they can save anything. You either structure your finances in a way that you say, I have $10 today, but what's left, I'll put it in a pot. And then tomorrow I'm using another $10, for example. It depends on how you do it, but have something on the side. You never know what's going to happen. You never know when you will need it. And it's a good way to manage life, unexpected circumstances, or even to use on something that you feel is very important. The politics are not so, I think where we come from, especially, in the Middle East, our political participation in terms of a macro level or even on a country level is not that big, but still there are a lot of kind of politics that we are within our community. And I thought this is a very nice illustration of what we talk about when we talk about politics. You've got the political, and we are participating in some of these. So political societies, economic societies through businesses, for example, civil societies, and sometimes you could be through a part of all three of these different societies. And still you've got, for example, if you see at the bottom, the private sphere, family, friendship, and network, that also requires politics of relations, I call them. So governments, how they deal with different people, how they different citizens, the regulations they put, even the infrastructure of the country is a part of their, politics go into that. And then the family politics, how you deal with your children, how you deal with your parents, how you deal with your friends. It's all a part of the politics. So sometimes we don't even think that we know them, but it is. I'm not going to talk to her about this because she's very sensitive, or I'm not going to tackle this situation with my son in this way, but I will ask him. One technique I use with my kids to help them understand is, write the problem, write the solution that you think I should ask you to go by. These kinds of techniques are very important, and they're a part of our, family politics, for example. And finally, just before I finish, it's very important to understand that your views, every family influences the political ideologies. If you're in a democratic country, then your views when you're talking about them affect how people vote. And I've put this illustration that, a lot of people avoid talking about politics within, but depending on the region, for example, everyone knows Mediterranean people as well as Arabic people, they love talking about politics, although they don't have a big say in it. But maybe because that's the way it is, because they don't actually get to choose their presidents or their prime ministers. They do discuss it a lot in the background. Family dynamics and structures also play a big role in your political socialization. So the groups that you belong to, the gatherings that you attend. So it's very important, and I think it's very rare that you would find someone that moved from one side to another, but it does exist, and that's why, especially with us and with what's going on right now, we need to raise our children. We need to be strong families that know the different dynamics that we influence. Sometimes we think, okay, yeah, that's fine. He's just young. He's not going to be, it's not going to change him, but it will stay at the back of his mind. Change happens, and we need to be aware of it more than ever. And that's why having strong roots, Islamic roots, religious roots, will help us be, outbring our kids in a better situation, that they will be able to take, how our parents raised us to be somehow good Muslims. And we could try to do that for them. Finally, and I'm done, just saying that women have an important role in the social, economic, and political. So try to use it, try to apply it. And if you're a woman, take charge of it. You are as an important pillar, as an important brick in society as the man, if not more. There's an Arabic phrase that it says, in translation, if you prepare a woman in the best way, you will know that you've prepared a great society. So that's what I will end up with. Thank you so much. And I hope that this was good.